All right, and we're live. We're back at COMP1002 Web and Internet Fundamentals for week 3, lesson 3, part 1. And we're going to talk about a couple things today. One, for those people who haven't had a chance to hand in their assignment for whatever reason, it was due yesterday, right? So if you haven't handed in assignment number 1 for some reason or another, that's bad. But you still have a chance. Now it's out of 80%, but at least you have a chance to get it in if you haven't had a chance to do that. It's better to get something than nothing for those people who haven't done it. So I'm going to use concept board today for some of our lecture, right? So this part, and the reason why I'm using this as a communication tool, I'm starting to use this in some of my classes. And it's you can sign up to concept board yourself, but really what it's all about is you kind of come up on concept board and you can do things like collaborate. So if you notice, there's a couple people that have joined me. You could go to under create, right? If I go to browse, I can actually move my window around, right? But if I go to create, I can actually create a sticky note as an example, or a text box, or a comment. So if I want to do a comment, right, I can kind of do a comment right here. And I can say, this is my sticky note, right? And once I do the comments, what I can do is I can kind of point out a little, throw an arrow down there and move my sticky note around, right? So I know who did the comment. You don't have to do comments, but I'm saying there's different options here. And then, of course, if you kind of join me, which I see some of you have already on the bottom, as soon as you join me on concept board, what you could do is you could pop some sticky notes in there too. So if you notice on this little mini map, I'm going to move things around now for a second. I see someone else has popped in something way over here, right? And I could change the kind of the size of my sticky of my pad so I can see it, the whole kind of board, if I will. Right? But what I want to use this for is for brainstorming a little bit, right? So if I have some kind of idea, or if I'm asking you questions and stuff, I want to say like, okay, what do you think I should do here? What kind of code should I use for my website, as an example, right? Or what do you recommend for this one? What would you use? Instead of asking, put up your hand and answer the question. Sometimes I find that some students, for whatever reason, they don't want to answer, right? They're afraid or whatever. Maybe they don't feel like it. But when it comes to this, anonymous, because it's anonymous, right? You can go pop in an answer, and then if you're wrong, I'll say, well, that's not right, or maybe it is. So it kind of I get you to participate a little bit more sometimes. Some people, it doesn't matter. If you don't want to participate, you're not going to participate, right? So, and the other thing is I'm going to be, this is recorded, so think about this as our virtual whiteboard, right? So I can kind of pop stuff up on the virtual whiteboard, do some stuff, and then you'll see it on the recording. So if you've missed something, you've seen, kind of the discussion we've been having. If I want to draw something out or pop in a diagram or something like that, we can do that here too. So there's lots of little things we can do with concept board. So if you want to join me there, that's the link. Again, I'll pop this on and off. So this week, this will be the link. Next week, I'll have another one. For concept board, you have a, I think you have 2 free boards. That's what ends up happening, right? So for those people who are checking it out, if you want to use it for your own brainstorming and stuff, if you're going to do some kind of teamwork, I think it's a good little tool from a communication perspective. There you go, Zach. You are. All right. So again, I'm also sharing this on Twitter for those people who want to, if you can't grab the link, you want to grab it on Twitter, you can do that. My Twitter is private. Again, I only kind of share my tweets with people who join me, so that way, it's just, as an example, things like Ich habe Ihnen Livestream untergestern, whatever, however you say that in German. And then there's another one in another language. Every time I start a live stream, they do it in different languages for whatever reason. Probably my settings somewhat. Okay, so that's enough of admin. We're going to be talking about a couple things. I'm just going to pop this down for a second. And one of the things I want to talk about is our new assignment number 2. I'm going to pop this one up here. It's up on Blackboard for you guys. And this one will be due a couple weeks from now on the Thursday. So same kind of idea as last time. You'll have some free reign in terms of what you can do. Really, it's around constructing this page, right? But it's a short article that you're going to kind of do a little bit of research on a particular piece of technology that has some kind of effect on mankind, right? Like things like, let's say, a cell phone, if you're really a cell phone junkie, or the computer or something. Research something that you're really interested in doing. What about something like a VR helmet? They're coming up with finally coming up with the commercial version of the Oculus Rift, right? If you're a gamer, talk about, research something, and then kind of put it together in a page. So you have a little bit of content. This is the idea here, right? And so again, it says it should include at least one image with an appropriate credit to the photographer or illustrator, and the page will also feature a form allowing a visitor to purchase this piece of technology. So if you want to purchase the Oculus Rift, you get some kind of a form that simulates the purchase. Obviously, you say buy me now or whatever, fill out this form, and I'll let you do that. I'll let you kind of come up with it. We'll talk about how to do forms over the next week or so. So we'll talk about how to put some of these elements together. So if you don't know how to do all this stuff yourself today, because we haven't talked about it, don't worry, don't fret. We'll get to it. But it's around practice. Again, it's just practice putting pages together. Okay? So let's talk about this. So choose an interesting piece of technology, whatever it is. Read some reputable sources. You're probably going to read Wikipedia, guaranteed. Someone's going to look that up. And some people consider that reputable. Sometimes they are. Write a short article. So we're not going to talk about, it doesn't have to be writing that I'm going to publish in the next newspaper or in a book. I'm not expecting you to have that level of writing. But please do your spelling checking and grammar and all that kind of stuff, because, I mean, if I can't read the article, then, that's no good. It has to be good content. So think about this. If you were selling content to one of your clients, right, and you're going to do some copywriting, as an example, right, you want the content to kind of be pretty decent, right? So it's not going to be like, full of spelling errors and all that kind of stuff. Just basic things. Construct a properly structured HTML document as before. Structure the page with appropriate sectioning elements, page level headers, footers, section, all that stuff that we've done already in class. Use appropriate HTML tags to mark up the text of the writing. For example, paragraph tags would surround a paragraph. Quote tags would surround a quotation, and emphasize text would be enclosed with a pair of emphasis tags, and so on. And then include at least one image element to insert some kind of illustration or photograph. Build a simple order form to purchase this thing, whatever it is, right? And we'll talk about how to do that again over the next week or so. And include some helpful HTML comments to make the code more friendly. So, you want to kind of internally document your code, right? So, hey, this is what this code is doing, and this part here, this is a section, and so on. We talked about that a little bit last time. And this is one other thing we're going to talk about today, this idea of, we're going to go to validator.w3.org and see what that does, right? There's a bit of a website you can check to see if your HTML is valid, and of course have fun. So one thing that's not on here that I'd like you to do before I go to take it further is I want you to pop this thing up on a live site. This is kind of the challenge for you guys, right? It's a little bit of an extra. This is worth 10% of your final grade. This assignment here. So I want you to find a place to host this thing, right? Now, we talked about this last time. There are some free hosting opportunities for you guys. One of them is, like I said before, GitHub pages. So if you want to do something like this, I go to GitHub pages, right? You can sign up for GitHub free, and what GitHub pages does is it gives you a bit of instructions on how to set up your own page, right? If you follow the instructions here, it talks about how to create a repository and so on. And if there's a bit of tutorials online on how to do it, but then you get a free GitHub page that you can host your stuff on, and you can pop your files up on GitHub, your website, and then boom, you've got a free page. Right? So that's one option. I also spoke about DreamSpark, right? Which is that's probably the better option, right? If you go to DreamSpark, and we have one for Georgian here, you can go up on you can get the GitHub Student Developer Pack, and if you do this is actually really cool. You also get, like I said, 5 free or private repositories if you want to store your files up online. That's one thing you get. You also get an SSL certificate, and I think Namecheap gives you a free domain name, right, for a year, right, which is kind of cool. So you can actually, get a domain name and then figure out how to point it to whatever site you're hosting on, and so on. That's another option. And then, of course, from a hosting site perspective, there's some other options on the cloud. One of them, of course, one of the most popular ones these days is something like Microsoft Azure, which is also free for students, right? So you can actually sign up, and then what you get is a free Azure account, and you can kind of create spaces up on Azure. And there's different ways of deploying, like using FTP, like we showed you last day, and so on, or deploying where from GitHub. So different options on how to do that. So I'd like you to try and find one of these, and there's others, by the way. If you want to use your own host somewhere, that's perfectly fine as well. If you already have a domain name that you own, you could always point it, to your files. And then when you upload everything on Blackboard, just point to your live site. So I want the site to be live, and I'm going to try and do this from now on because for a couple of reasons. One, it's a really good test of how it looks live, like we talked about last day, right? It's the workflow that employers are looking for, right? They want to know that it's not just a website here at the school that you're uploading to, but actually somewhere live, right? And you know how to do these things. So there's a bit of research involved here, other than just putting together a few, like an article on a page, right? It's how do I do this and figuring things out. Again, we're gonna next week. If you have any problems, please. I want you to start trying it this week, like early, and then let's see how it goes for next week. If you have a problem, and then I'll try to come around next week and help you out, and so we can deploy something somewhere, right? But again, it's covered in the videos. We kind of already, I've already kind of indicated how to do it. It's a matter of doing it, right? Checking it out. There's some complexities around it at times, right? Especially if you want to do things like put something up on Azure and then point a domain to Azure. There's like a bit of complexities. There's tons of tutorials online on how to do it if you can figure it out yourself by looking up, just Googling it. It'll tell you how to do it. But part of it for you is the learning that you want to take away is, hey, I've posted something online. I've got my website going. When you go to when you do the next course, this is kind of a fundamentals course. When you go to the next course where you do more scripting or whatever, like for example, client-side scripting or even server-side scripting later on, advanced web development, you'll be able to. You've already have done this piece, so then when you see it again, it's going to be easier for you. If you don't do it now, then it'll be a lot harder later on, right? So don't put it off. This is part of the whole web development process. Again, if you're using something like Dreamweaver, Visual Studio has a publishing option built in that allows you to publish right on Azure. That's another option. So there's many, many possibilities. You just have to choose what you want to do. Let's go back. So again, it's you're going to put together some kind of an article, some piece of technology. This isn't a big piece. I mean, it's again, you're using what we're talking about this week and next week to put together your website. So really, it's not something that's undoable for you. Here's how you can take it further. One thing it says upload your HTML page or CSS file and image to your personal hosting space. This is taking it further. What I'm going to make it is mandatory now. So this for one piece, this take it further piece on step 1, I want you to do it. It's not an optional piece for you, okay? 2, construct an external CSS file to apply styles to the text and perhaps some subtle use of color, okay? We haven't talked about CSS, but if you want to figure out how to do that on your own, there's a bit of bonus marks there for you. Include at least one hyperlink to another resource on the internet about your particular topic. So link back to Wikipedia or some other place, right? Some kind of link. And anything else you can think of. And the reason why it's put like this is sometimes you can come up with your own style, elements, images, and so on that makes sense for you, right? So the more you put into it, again, for this one, you're going to get better marks. It's all around how you make this assignment your own. Okay, let's take a look at other things. Again, we're going to ask you to upload your zip archive on Blackboard with your HTML file, any CSS files and images. And this is alternative, upload the HTML, CSS, and image file to your account on Georgian College Sandbox. There is no web server. I think we've decommissioned this. So this is kind of an assignment that we used to have. So like I said, post a link to document on your assignment on Blackboard. This is what I really want, right? I want that as well as you know, your zip file. So why both? Why the zip archive of your files plus your link? What if your link doesn't work? And I want to still look at your work, right? I'd rather have a copy of your work somewhere, whether it's a GitHub link. Give me some redundancy here, right? So I have a chance to mark you. I'm going to give you partial marks, even if it doesn't work. And if I see some of your work, I'll still try and I give you some marks, right? But if I can't find your stuff, I can't look at your work, I can't mark you, right? So, so please make it as easy for me as possible by popping up a link to GitHub, maybe another link to, if you're going to use GitHub, put up a link for your final, you know, whatever your file is found on the internet somewhere, and then plus your zip archive. That would be good. Okay, a bit of a rubric on how this is done. I'll let you guys look through. This is pretty straightforward, but it tells you how you can get a marks from 0 to 5. And then from an evaluation criteria perspective, it's worth 45 points as an example. And that's really it in a nutshell. And again, this is due 2 weeks from yesterday, right? So that would be not next Thursday, but Thursday after. Okay. Any questions or concerns around this one? Pretty straightforward. The only wrinkle for this one for you guys is I want it live. All right, that's the only difference between what I've seen here, right? But that's the only change in the assignment from what it sort of shows here. Okay? And again, I'm going to ask for this, you know, a couple changes here and there. But at the end of the day, if you practice now, it's going to be a little easier later. Okay. Let me do one more thing here. So that's kind of the assignment in a nutshell. I'm going to stop this recording because I want to kind of say this is the recording about your assignment, and then we'll do another one for the rest of the for this first part. Okay. And I like to partition that off like that, so that way if you actually go up on YouTube and you're like, what did you say? Just this is about the assignment, so you don't have to swim around and try and find what these ones are all around. Okay.